the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interview. Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Rose, answer. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on in. It's another edition of the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker. Love to hear from you as well. It's a prediction Friday for us, predicting what will happen on Saturday between Utah State and McNeese. Get those predictions in. In fact, we didn't rehearse this beforehand, but we have some tickets we can give away.
I was about to say, do we have tickets
for Saturday's game? So. If you would like some, let us know. We'll try to find a way to give those away today.
Yeah. Do you want to just do it give a score prediction? Mind you, you'll need to specify whether or not you want the tickets.
Yeah. Give us your score prediction for how things will go on Saturday. If you don't need the tickets, let us know. Otherwise, we will assume that if you give us a score prediction, that you are in the running to win a pair of tickets for Utah State when they face McNeese Saturday night. Give us those score predictions throughout the show. We'll give those away a little bit later on. 435-339-0321 as we will let you know how things will go definitively for Utah State and McNeese, because it will not happen unless Jason and I say it will happen the way it will happen.
Yeah, we predict things. We are the oracles of Utah State sports. I have never, ever been wrong.
That's right. Never. So, yeah, we'll get into that. And we'll also look at a lot of other things going on this weekend. There are a lot of high school football games going on tonight. And all of them that are hosting tonight, at least the teams that we follow, it's all of them. It's homecoming for all of them.
Yeah. A lot of homecomings this week.
Yes. So definitely a homecoming flair on our high school football broadcasts this evening. So we'll let you know who's playing where, how you can follow along, and look at what's going on in the Mountain West this weekend, and a look at the NFL. Could we see Jalen Royals finally suit up for the Kansas City Chiefs? Because the Chiefs have not been able to win a game without him, so they really need him on the field.
The Chiefs are winless without Jalen Royals. If they win this week and he plays, that settles it.
Yes.
The Chiefs are unbeatable.
We will recognize
Royals.
the secret sauce.
But that'll depend on whether or not they can get the win this week. Who are they playing? I still can't remember because they face the Eagles and Chargers, right?
Yeah, they've had
two teams that are 2-0.
Pretty tough start to the season.
If I click on NBA scores, that's probably not going to take me to the NFL.
The Chiefs are playing
the Giants.
The Giants.
That shouldn't go too badly.
Sunday night.
A couple of 0-2 teams. I saw some funny little meme where it's like Giants fans after praying that they would have the same record as the Chiefs, and it was just like, okay, freaking out because they're both 0-2 now.
Wait, no.
That's not what we wanted.
It's not how we thought that was going to go down.
Yeah, it's not a monkey's paw at all. Good NFL weekend this week. Good college week. Finally get the Mountain West back in action. Half of the teams were off last week. Guess they all just decided we're going to take this week off. The Aggies are one of the few teams in action last week, but I believe everyone, or just about everyone, is in action this week for the Mountain West.
Yeah, you got a couple of Mountain West versus Mountain West matchups as well.
Yeah, Aggies won't be alone in first place.
No.
They'll be in a three-way tie with two other teams.
Somebody.
Probably Fresno and Boise.
Probably.
But not guaranteed.
No. Let's clear the deck a little bit on the Young Power Sports Logan text line, because it's been very active to get things started.
Got a lot of score predictions.
And we had a text come in before we started the show saying, remember you guys saying that you hadn't ever been to the Ag Barbecue? It's one of my favorite traditions, and it's happening this Saturday before the football game. Just wanted to give it a quick shout out. Yeah, the agricultural products barbecue is a big deal for Utah State.
Like like when we say before the game, like what's the timeline? Because remember, I show up an hour early, so if it's in that time frame,
Good question.
I'm open.
If you know the details, besides letting us know it's happening this Saturday, if anyone can give us more details about when and where, like where will it take place? If I'm not mistaken, isn't it up on the?
Is it on campus or is it near the game?
I think it's on campus. If I'm not mistaken, I thought it was up by the softball fields in that area. But I'm not exactly sure.
That's right about where I park. So
if you're those who know, share the deets. Because you're right, that is
1702.
I've heard a lot of great details about that.
Hook me up with those deets.
We did have 9315 who actually sent us a link this morning for that, and so here are the details right here.
Oh, there we go.
It will be from 3 to 5:30 at Craig Aston Park.
Where's that at?
And so I'm pulling it up on the old map. So it's just north of the softball stadium. It's by those greenhouses on the corner of 14th North and 800 East.
Okay, right there. Okay, that's not too bad.
So it's a little bit north of the football stadium, but there's a park there, kind of tucked away. But that's where they set up, and there's a pavilion, and they'll have lots of different tables set up. So enjoy some agricultural products and some great food. And I'm pretty sure it's a fundraiser for the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources. So
let's try and check it out.
Yeah. It'll feature Utah-grown beef, dairy products, pork, onion rings, salad, lamb, corn, apples, creamies, and more.
That's a lot of good things.
That's a lot of good stuff.
That's a lot of good stuff you read.
Yes. Yes. So it costs $16 for an adult. Students can get in for $11, kids for $9. So there you go. There are your details. Start making your plans.
I'm gonna go there and
Saturday.
I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna build a company. $16.
3 to 5:30 on Saturday. A couple other texts getting a lot of score predictions. Also 9315. My score for Saturday at the Mav. Go Aggies, and it has.
Was it to infinity and beyond?
Oh yes, there we go. I'm like trying to figure out what.
Yeah,
it's a picture of
is a gift,
Toy
but like
Story.
it went for a while and then it stops eventually.
Oh, because apparently I missed that.
Yeah, I saw it going as a to infinity, but the
Buzz Lightyear
the window will
carrying
eventually stop the
Woody
gift
through the air.
Yeah, so that's in to infinity and beyond. I'm waiting for our 1,000,000 to 3 prediction.
We're waiting for it.
Yeah, we'll see if we get that later.
Imagine it'll come at some point in the show. But then in all seriousness, 9315 says USU 49 if they use the horse again, but if they don't, it'll be 42. The other guy's 10.
So you've got a conditional score prediction here.
If they use the horse?
Yeah, like they have the horses.
Where they bring the rodeo club brings out the flags?
Yeah, where they ride the horses onto the field.
Yeah.
They've done that 2 games now.
Twice. Yeah.
So
okay.
We'll see if I don't know if they specified whether they do it for a third time. They've also been having, one of the former football players running out onto the field with the flag. This week it's Zach Vigil.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that they're finally letting people know ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like for the last couple, it's like the player runs it out, and then later they'll post, "Hey, our honorary."
I thought they mentioned Tyler before the game.
Aggie was so and so, and
I thought I saw before the game that it was going to be Tyler.
Did you?
For the last game.
I saw some fans kind of complaining that, not that it was a big deal, but they're like, hey, I wish we would know who it is so we can cheer. Yeah. But
I saw a post, maybe I'm just misremembering when I saw it, but I mean, I remember seeing him being like, oh, yeah, and especially because he's helping out with Aggie Call as well. So,
but cool to have Vigil involved in that, too.
Was it Zach or was it Nick? It was one of the Vigils. And I'm suddenly doubting myself which one it was.
I'll have to look it up. But yeah, so that's happening. That's a really cool thing that they're starting to do.
Yeah,
getting those former Aggies involved.
Let's get through a few more of these. Let's get through a few more of these score predictions. 2444 saying USU 48, McNeese 17. Let's go! There are 7 exclamation points.
That was matching the number of exclamation points there. So that was much better than I would have given it.
Need that energy, Eric.
Yes, 5338 texting in. 5338 Sports for Education Academy and Think Tank Aggie Football Executive Committee met last night after the volleyball game and noticed that there are no games designated as homecoming on the football schedule. Does USU celebrate homecoming anymore?
I'm pretty sure one of them is.
Aren't they going to do like they always do like a homecoming parade? But
I mean, there's nothing on like the website that designates a homecoming game that I can see. If there is, I would imagine it's probably San Jose.
October 13th through the 18th is homecoming week.
So that is San Jose. It's usually middle of the season. You got a home game against San Jose, sandwiched by a couple of road games. Don't want to have homecoming all the way in November.
Yeah, so this happened last time. The football game was on the Friday night before.
Oh, that's right. This one's on a Friday.
Yeah, because the football game is on the Friday night, on the 17th.
Is that going to affect
And after the football game, there's True Aggie night, so make your way up to the quad. And then this homecoming parade will be that Saturday at 10 a.m. down Main Street.
I was about to worry that was going to impact my ability to cover high school football, but that week the game's actually on Wednesday.
Oh, because it's fall break?
Something like one of those breaks that like they have Thursday, Friday off or something like that. I forget what they call it these days.
6436 USU 45-14.
Something a theme. Everyone's in the 45-48 range.
3261 USU 45, McNeese 24. 9315. We already did that one. 7241 Utah State $1 million. McNeese 3.
As you can see, Eric, $1 million is a bigger number than 3.
And this is very consistent for 7241. Every score prediction we have received, $1 million to 3. No, exactly. I take that back. We gave a Utah State 30, Air Force 24, and then clarified. Wait, no, I mean $1 million to 3.
Clarified, $1 million to 3. And I mean, this game is expected to be a blowout. It's not to say it will be. The Mountain West has certainly had its challenges with FCS games. UNLV was really close against Idaho State. New Mexico was relatively close against Idaho State, winning by 10. Colorado State should have lost. Kind of a maybe crappy referee review overturned a catch that would have been a game-winning touchdown. Nevada, and that's against Northern Colorado. I think Air Force is playing this week. I think.
Air Force
is playing Boise. That's right.
Yeah.
I thought I saw some of the Air Force is going to play Northern Colorado, but that can't be. They've already played an FCS team. So I don't know what I was looking at. But and then Nevada against Sacramento State, they probably also should have lost, but Sacramento State doesn't know how to run a 4-minute drill. So there's that. Or hit a field goal, for that matter.
Yeah.
So there's been some struggles where they've had 3 one-possession games in FCS games, 1 2-possession game. So like 4 games that were close between Mountain West teams and FCS opponents. Mind you, some of those I think are better than the one that Utah State is facing. McNeese is kind of your middle-of-the-road FCS team. But I don't know. It's just hard to see this being anything but a blowout if the Aggies take care of business, because they've not played down to opponents. I think they did well against UTEP in their season opener. That's about as close as I think you could come to saying they played down to their opponent, because UTEP's still looking a bit shaky. But even then, they were playing better than UTEP the entire game. They just kind of, they shot themselves in the foot a bit on offense in that one, where they really should have scored like 35, 38, maybe even 40 points in that game, but just struggled in the second half. So I think Utah State will manage to do pretty well in this game. I was rewatching some extended highlights. I still can't find the full game film from that McNeese-Weber State game that I was trying to find, but I found some extended highlights, saw a bit more, and there's a few things that I think Utah State can maybe take advantage of, unless McNeese, maybe McNeese will make some adjustments, but there are some things the Utah State I think can exploit, especially on McNeese's defense.
Let's get to a few more texts coming through. 5338. 5338 Sports Re-Education Academy Think Tank updated AI predictive engine says the Aggies will squeak by McNeese at Venerable Maverick Stadium 49-14. Last chance to see the Aggies in the MAV for 4 weeks.
Yeah, they're halfway through their home schedule at this point. Like we'll be a third of the way through the season. We'll be halfway through Utah State's home schedule. They won't be at home for a few weeks because they'll be at Vanderbilt, on a bye, then at Hawaii, and then finally homecoming. It'll kind of make sense because like with Logan High School, their homecoming is after like 4 out of 5 weeks at home.
Yeah, they didn't go anywhere. Yeah, they're still home.
They've not been anywhere. They're going to go on the road after homecoming. But for the Aggies, it very much will be a homecoming because they will have not seen their team in front of their very eyes for a month.
8-9-6-8. It will be a blowout. Aggies 66, McNeese State 12.
That is optimistic, but I would say still realistic for the Aggies offense.
And then 7241, as a Northern Colorado grad, I'm still salty about that Colorado State game, even though I don't follow Unco sports at all.
I think I follow Northern Colorado sports closer than 7241.
That was a blown call by the Mountain West.
It was iffy, and I know a lot of the 17 Northern Colorado fans out there were pretty upset about it.
Well, we're seeing more transparency, moves for more transparency on these video reviews to be part of the broadcast, so the broadcast crew can listen in to what's being discussed. A couple different conferences are doing this, and I think it's just a matter of time before everybody has to do this.
And see, I think that's kind of interesting. Does it really help? Because then suddenly the referees are under pressure to say things intelligently, and at that point it becomes a performance. And I don't want the referee's job to become a performance. I just want them to do it right. And to me, it's it's kind of cool to hear them discuss these things and we know what they're looking for. But the broadcasters can usually do that pretty well. They bring in these rule analysts. They do a pretty good job of pointing out what they're looking at. Now, there's the transparency of the referee having to articulate what he sees and why he's doing it. So in that sense, that's something that's new. But in reality, it's not so much transparency as you just want to see accountability.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. I don't really care if you're that transparent. You just want to see accountability because there's not a single league that has transparency / accountability or transparent accountability for referees on any consistent basis. Once in a blue moon, we hear, these referees got suspended. That happened earlier this year.
Yeah, right.
But that is very rare to see that kind of thing. And it would just be nice if we knew that there was discipline because there has to be some discipline for referees, but you never really hear about it except in, I don't even say extreme cases, because even in some of the most extreme cases, you just don't hear about the discipline. It's just these random edge cases where the one earlier this year was the referees blew some obscure rule about kickoffs.
Yeah,
and
something on a punt or a kickoff.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, they got to punt it on a kickoff instead of having to tee it up. It's really? That's the thing that we're nitpicking? Okay, you forgot a rule. All right.
And it's almost like we get the reverse. When it comes to high profile bowl games, then it's these referees scored really well, so they get to work the highest, most important games. So, okay, so we know those refs are good, but so I guess in the reverse, everybody else are bums.
Can we just get a scorecard?
Or yeah,
Major League Baseball has a scorecard, but it's an unofficial
what that really
one.
Means?
We need we need these grading. That would be nice if they just publicly said, "Here's the grading for all the referees."
Sorry, your staff today are guys with a bunch of C's and D's.
Yeah, which
get luck today.
That level of transparency would be fine. You could whine and complain about having the bad referees, but again, it's transparency.
Yeah, and then did we have a good crew or not?
Yeah, then you can base that on whether or not you complain a whole lot, which maybe that's why they don't do it. It's because then we'd complain about having the bad refs, which kind of do that anyway, especially in basketball. It's we got this referee again, and that referee has a reputation or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a few names.
I definitely hear more about that in basketball than I do in football.
Mostly because you don't really know the names of referees. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but basketball referees are a little closer to being well-known by name.
True. They're definitely more in the spotlight.
Yeah.
just on the court with the players.
Yeah. So we're coming up against the break. So why don't we go ahead and transition from our discussion of referees to a discussion of what's going to happen on the field where the referees hopefully aren't too much involved other than spotting the ball. Give our predictions for offense, defense, what we think will happen on both sides of the ball as Utah State takes on McNeese tomorrow on Merlin Olsen Field. We'll get to that next here on the Full Court Press.
This is Brent Wallace with Cache Valley Bank, and we understand that concerns about fraud can weigh heavily on you. Your peace of mind is important to us. That's why we're committed to looking out for you and your family. Our team keeps a vigilant eye on your account, and if you ever have concerns or need support, we're just a call or visit away. Whether you need advice or just someone to talk to, our friendly staff is ready to help. We're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors, and we care about your security. Visit your local branch today. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
It's time to make the outdoor living improvements you've talked about. Cast-A-Lite in Logan has everything you need to turn your backyard get-together into a backyard event. If you need pavers for a walkway, a retaining wall for your garden, or to reshape a flower bed, or a fire pit to roast marshmallows, think Cast-A-Lite. Their experts will reduce your DIY stress for brick, block, rock, paver, and tile. Go where the pros go. Online at castalite.com.
Express Tires for less.
Safety and comfort on the road are Express Tire's top priority. As a Point S team member, count on peace of mind with an inclusive warranty that includes nationwide protection. Any brand, any size, better pricing. No appointment necessary on the highway at 3200 North Main.
Express Tires for less.
Hello, Cache Valley. Did you know the Sportsman on Main in downtown Logan has bike and tube rentals? That's right. The Sportsman has kids' bikes, bikes for cruising around town, hardtail mountain bikes, and full suspension electric bikes for rent. If you haven't ridden an e-bike, you are missing out on so much fun. We can even give you ideas where to ride. If you need to rent a tube or many tubes for Bear Lake, Hiram Dam, or the Narrows in Idaho, we have those too. Come to the Sportsman on Main in downtown Logan for your summer bike and tube rentals. Tons of parking in the back.
The Aggies are #1 here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Snowplows, enclosed side-by-sides, huge selection ready to roll at Young Power Sports Logan. They've got transparent pricing, including all dealer fees. There are no surprises, just great deals and gear built for adventure. Young Power Sports Logan, your headquarters for fun. They do sponsor our text line, 435-339-0321. And text us your score prediction for the game Saturday. If you would like a pair of tickets to go see Utah State take on McNeese, we'd love to get some extra fans there. We have some tickets to get you there. If you don't need those but still want to text in a score prediction, that's fine. Just let us know that you're taken care of with tickets so we don't put you down and send tickets your way and you've already got some. But I guess, if you've got somebody you could share them with, that's okay too.
Yeah, that's true. We'll message someone after the game, and if we message them and it turns out they can't, then we'll go down the list. We'll find somebody who's able to get to the game and attend it and have some fun watching Utah State ideally get its third win of the season. It'll be the first time since 2021 that they started 3-1, if that ends up being the case.
Wow. Okay, so let's look at this team and look at the matchups here. Let's first talk about the Utah State offense versus the McNeese defense. Utah State offensively, they did okay against UTEP. They, against a pretty tough foe at Texas A&M, were able to still get 22 points on the board.
Yeah, just a bit streaky there.
And then against Air Force, really an offensive explosion, mostly in the second half.
Yeah, pretty much everything went right in that game, as you said, especially in the second half. But even 14 points in the first half wasn't too bad.
No. So this Utah State offense seems to be figuring itself out a little bit more, understanding its identity, who its playmakers are, and what it can and cannot do. So will McNeese put up much of a challenge for the Aggies?
I don't think their defense is going to have a great day against the Aggies. I think with Utah State rolling into form a bit against Air Force. I think they're figuring some things out. There's a lot of offensive creativity, and I think there's still more things that they can unleash onto the world. It might depend on just how hard Utah State goes in this one. Are they going to go conservative because it's an FCS opponent? From Bronco Mendenhall's comments, they're not going to be taking anything easy because, maybe his thinking matches mine, where it's like Utah State can't afford to overlook anybody. So they're going to go out there like they're facing Texas A&M, and they're going to, pull out all the stops. And if they do that, then they're just going to absolutely roll against McNeese on offense. Again, I was trying to watch film. It was, again, it's extended highlights. It's not film because I couldn't find the full game footage. But from some of the plays I kept seeing with Weber State, mind you, these are their best plays, but I kept seeing little things that I think Utah State can exploit. One in particular that was really interesting to me was how they guarded the kind of read option with the running back and quarterback. And I suddenly forget the quarterback's name for Weber State. It was a somewhat complicated name. But he ran for 114 yards and a touchdown in that game, including a 50-yard run. And those stats, will say one thing in the film, really backed up exactly why he does that. Now, mind you, he's not like a huge runner. He's a bit of a runner. He had 40 or 50 yards rushing in the first 2 games of Weber State season. So, he's not Lamar Jackson out there, but he's not, Tom Brady as far as his rushing ability. He can move if he needs to. But the thing is, McNeese in that read option treated him like he wasn't a runner at all. The defensive end crashed so hard on the running back that the quarterback would just be wide open. And it would happen multiple times. And it's like, if McNeese plays like that against the Aggies, Bryson Barnes is going to set a rushing record at Utah State with him pulling the ball and just running against the defense. Now, I have my doubts that Utah State will be able to just abuse that because of some of the comments I know that Matt Viator said, where they're talking about making adjustments to their defense. And I know they saw that on film. They watched Weber's quarterback run for 114 yards. They'll see on film their defensive end ignoring the quarterback, and I think they're going to make an adjustment there. I think. If they don't, Barnes is going to run for 150 yards.
Yeah.
Because he will absolutely torch McNeese on that. And even then, maybe he'll still run pretty well, just because I think Utah State's going to try and establish the ground game more than they have in previous games. I think they're really going to want to prove to themselves they can run the ball more consistently than they have, because they've been a little inconsistent on that side. So I think they're going to be, ground and pound to some degree. They're going to still, throw these downfield passes, especially to keep the defense honest. And I think they're going to get some really good chunk plays out of the passing game. But I think with Bryson Barnes, Javen Jacobs, Miles Davis, I think they're going to control this game on the ground in a pretty big way, getting chunk plays on the ground and then making McNeese pay when they try and, bring guys into the box to stop the pass. Because I just think that Kevin McGivern is going to end up having a field day with this McNeese State defense. So I'm seeing the Aggies putting up quite a few points. Now, how many is just going to depend on how well their defense does. Do the Aggies pull their foot up off the gas, to avoid running up a score? But, with all the score predictions in the 40s, I think that's, and even some in the 50s, I think that's very fair.
I think it's very plausible. Yeah, I think that this McNeese gave up 42 to Weber State. They gave up, was it 35 to Louisiana?
Yeah, 34, who aren't that good of an offense, to be perfectly honest.
So there's going to be opportunities for Utah State to move the ball. For me, it's just how methodical does Utah State want to be? Do they want to be explosive? Do they want to work on methodical drives up and down the field? Or are they just going to we're going to run our stuff? And if you break away and have a big 25, 30-yard catch, okay. If they can't stop us, that's what we're going to keep doing.
Yeah, because they were successful with Air Force with these quick drives. Something I brought up in a couple of different places, that Utah State's longest drive in terms of time of possession against Air Force, at least the scoring ones, was 2 minutes and 41 seconds. That's dang quick. And you might just see them do that again. Maybe they're not really just going to change anything. They might not just go to the ground over and over. They might just keep saying, we're going to do what works for us. And what works for us is these 15, 20-yard pass plays, intersperse a few of these runs with Miles Davis and Javen Jacobs, maybe a short pass, a screen pass there. But again, this up-tempo enough that they're scoring really quickly. And that's something else that could lead to a ton of points. If they're only having 2-minute drives, you're going to have like 5 of those in the first half. You might score 30-plus points in the first half if they're really rolling.
Yeah, and what also could be interesting is Utah State has shown some different things each week. The offense is evolving. Part of that is just trying to figure out what works for the team.
Yeah, getting in rhythm.
But I'm really curious to see how the play calling goes on Saturday for Coach McGiven. Will they continue to show different looks, to put more things on film to cause opponents to spend more time viewing things and analyzing things? Or will they go a little bit more base? Like, we're going to go a little bit more basic and just run a few things and make sure we get this down really well.
Yeah,
but I'm probably inclined to guess it's probably more the first one, that Utah State will continue to show how it's evolving as an offense and continue to put more things on tape to cause opponents have to spend more time evaluating more looks from Utah State.
And I think the risk is just like, how well do you think that McNeese can adjust? Because they're adjusting some of the things they're doing on defense, clearly reworking. You know that coaching staff is going to be thinking about the fact they've given up 76 points in the last 2 weeks. And they're going to model some of those adjustments after, what they see on tape with Utah State. So if you go with some of your more basic stuff, then you're playing right into the hand of your opponent in a game that you cannot afford to lose and that you can hardly afford to look bad in. You don't want to be looking bad in this game. You don't want to be losing steam in this game. So if you go more basic, you're allowing McNeese to have the advantage against your offense, the game plan advantage. And you risk yourself like going into halftime up only like 17-14 or even down like 17-14, 17-10. If you find yourself struggling, especially on defense, where, if you go basic on defense, McNeese, you don't want McNeese to be able to see stuff on film and then be able to safely assume that that's exactly what they're going to see.
Right.
You want to be able to stay a step ahead of them. That's what the Aggies have done. That's what the Aggies did against Air Force. Air Force didn't know what hit them. They didn't know what was coming. Anthony Garcia is suddenly running up to try and take the snap, and Air Force, all their linebackers and defensive linemen are like, what the heck do we do? They try and scrunch up to maybe stop a QB sneak, and it turns out they're throwing it to Anthony Garcia on a swing pass, or, him running around the edge to run for a touchdown, or, again, I went through some of the screen passes they did, just a bunch of different things the Air Force was just not ready for, the Utah State threw at them. So you want to keep your opponent guessing, and you want to keep them one step behind. So while there is that enticing thing of, hey, we don't want to put more on film, because then you have to keep being creative, and you have to do that for Vanderbilt, who you'd like to keep them guessing as much as possible, because that's a game you really want to win and be able to establish things. But you run the risk, if you go more basic, of McNeese having an advantage against you, when, again, you can't be affording to have this game be close, because you definitely don't want to be losing this one.
No, you don't want to be losing it. You want to have a healthy margin when you're early into the fourth quarter, because you want to give your rotation guys more reps.
Yeah, you just don't want to have this game be close, because if it's a one-possession game in the fourth quarter, anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen, and you don't want...
If it's a 10-point, 14-point game, that's too close. That's too uncomfortable.
Yeah, you don't want to be sweating this one out, because it's one where you talk about being able to get some younger guys in there for depth. Utah State's one of the most banged up teams in the Mountain West right now. One, you want to get some of your starters off the field so they're not getting more wear and tear, but also get some depth guys who may have to play with how many injuries they're having. You want to be able to get them on the field and get them some valuable snaps. And obviously keeping the margin wide, just for the sake of do not lose the game to an FCS team. Broncos become a little too familiar with losing to FCS teams. Did it last year while he was with New Mexico. If they win that game against Montana State, they'd have gone to a bowl game. He lost his very first game.
And maybe he doesn't leave New Mexico.
Perhaps. But, and then, when he was at Virginia, that first year he was there, he went 2-10, and that included a loss. to an FCS team, Richmond, I think. So, like, Utah State's a little too familiar with losing to FCS teams. Like Utah State, the program, there's guys on this roster who were on the wrong side of that loss to Weber State. You also have a guy who was on the right side of that game, Jake Eichhorn, but, he even though he was on the right side of that, he knows very well what can happen when, an FCS team is gunning for these FBS teams, because this is their Super Bowl. These are their big games. These are their season definings. Like, they put that on their stat sheet. We beat an FCS team or an FBS team. That can be a make or break aspect of a coach's season, isn't it? If they beat an FBS team, much like if Utah State beats a Power 4 team. You put that on your resume.
Yeah, that's absolutely a highlight of the season.
Yeah, and so they're going to be gunning for Utah State, and the Aggies can't afford. Again, I say that's like Utah State might be tempted to do a lot of these things. Don't put things on film. Don't go super hard. Like, just do this, that. Utah State's not good enough to afford that kind of luxury. Go out there like this is your Super Bowl and blow them the heck out. That's the only good result here.
A couple more texts coming in, 9315. I always wondered if coaches make a call that they know where the ref is going to be on the field and use that to help them like an extra man on the field. Have you guys seen this before?
I don't know if they try to do that, but like the only one really is those crossing routes, which those times usually you're trying to use your own receiver, which that's where you get those offensive pass interference calls sometimes where they're not very good at, sneaking you.
Yeah.
Running
a pick play, but not making it look like a pick play.
Yeah, basically, or too much like a pick play. So, that's, I don't know if they try to do that. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes the referee just happens to get in the way and sucks that it's that way, but referee tries their best, but they still got to be on the field.
Yeah.
There's only someone they have to take.
I don't know if I've seen anything intentional. I've seen it go both ways too many times.
Yeah.
Where it disrupts the timing and the route of the offense, but also can rub the defender off and give the wide receiver a little bit more space. So I've seen it both ways. I don't think they intentionally try to do that. 5452 with the score prediction, Utah State wins 52-10. And then 8968, let's give McNeese film on the last of our Weber game.
Yeah, give them film on that team. Let them study that. They're not going to learn a whole lot from that. Utah State runs a whole lot different offense.
Oh, very.
But if they prepared for that
team.
one, Utah State probably would kill them because they'd be like, what the heck is this team? They're running like a pro-style offense as opposed to, a spread. They'd be like they're prepping for UTEP.
Yeah. All right, let's take a timeout. And on the other side, let's preview the other side. Let's flip it around. Utah State defense versus the McNeese offense before we get into our score predictions. And love to continue to get yours also. If you give us your score prediction, you'll be entered in to win a pair of tickets to go see Utah State take on McNeese Saturday night. Reminder that the game starts at 6, which means pregame coverage for KVNU Game Day begins at 4 on our sister station. And, of course, as we'd mentioned earlier, too, the Ag Day Barbecue is taking place on Saturday. That's from 3 to 5:30. So all kinds of good things happening Saturday. And we'll take a timeout. More on that, predictions and previews of Utah State and McNeese on the Full Court Press.
Have you thought about your furnace lately? Of course not. It's hot outside. Now's a great time to start thinking about replacing it or having it serviced for fall and winter. Advanced Heating and Air will help you get some of the industry's best rebates on a new high-efficient York furnace installed in your home. Or one of Advanced Heating and Air's service professionals can service your furnace for the upcoming winter season. Call today, 752-7272, or schedule a free estimate at advancedheating-ac.com. York, install confidence.
Need a great deal near USU? Mention Aggie 79 and score a room at the Baum Motel for just $79. Enjoy charming, homey hospitality in downtown Logan. You'll love the clean, spacious rooms and friendly, attentive staff. Take advantage of free breakfast, free Wi-Fi, and a seasonal outdoor pool. At that price, it can't be beat. $79 rooms with Aggie 79 at the Baum Motel. Value every day of the week. Call 435-752-5220. That's 752 862-5220.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is thrilled to welcome Dr. Jackson Deere to their team of trusted specialists. Dr. Deere joins Doctors Blotter and Robinette to provide exceptional medical and surgical care for your ears, nose, throat, and related structures of the head and neck. Appointments are now available. Whether it's allergies, hearing, or sinus concerns, Cache Valley ENT is here to help you live the life you deserve. Welcome Dr. Deere to Cache Valley and the team at Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat. Now serving Logan, Providence, Tremont, Preston, and Montpelier.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. A few years ago, I saw this sign hanging in a gas station. It said price, quality, service. Pick 2 out of the 3. Now, it's funny, and I did laugh, but at My Mattress, we don't even want to do business unless we can do all 3. Price, quality, and service. We have a 90-day sleep guarantee, 90-day price guarantee, and we will answer the phone if you have a warranty concern. At My Mattress, we deliver, we have financing, we strive to be price, quality, and service every day. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
Interviews, analysis, and a little bit of fun mixed in. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Four 339-0321. That's the Young Power Sports Logan text line. Let us know your score prediction for Saturday between Utah State and McNeese. Jason and I will give ours here in just a moment as we continue to preview and give our predictions of how things will play out on Saturday night on Merlin Olsen Field. We talked about the Utah State offense versus the McNeese defense. Now let's flip that around. The McNeese offense versus the Utah State defense. And this is where McNeese, I think, is a little bit stronger with their team. I think they've got a little bit more dynamic playmakers on their offense than they do their defense. A couple of guys that can run the ball very well, a couple of good wide receivers, and a quarterback who's got a pretty good arm, who can be mobile. It's not what he's really known for, but he can scramble. And they do have an ability to put points on the board. Yeah, and so I think, while McNeese's defense is going to struggle, I think their offense is going to find ways to get points. I think Utah State's going to show more improvement in this game. I think it's going to be their best defensive game overall. But I don't know if the Aggies are a team that's capable of shutting down an offense, holding them to 3 or 6 points. Again, I think a lot of our text line are pretty good on where their predictions. McNeese is going to get multiple scores, multiple touchdowns likely, maybe add on a few field goals depending on how many chunk plays they can get. But I think they're going to find a lot of inconsistency. It'll be a lot like how UTEP did against the Aggies. And stretches of that Air Force game, I don't think they're not going to have as much consistent success as Air Force did because they don't have the same, just methodical ability to just grind you down with their run game. Even though they have talent, their Air Force is a completely different animal. So I think Utah State's ultimately going to hold back McNeese. I think they might give up a late score with some backups in, where I think the offense is going to create a bit of a margin in this game. But I think it will go down as Utah State's best defensive game, and perhaps justifiably so. I think Utah State's going to do well overall with a few hiccups, just with McNeese having the talent in the running back room with their quarterback. They've got guys who can go out there and make plays. And so those guys at some point are going to go make plays, but the consistency will not be there enough to really threaten the Aggies so long as their offense is rolling, which I think it will. Yeah, McNeese benefited from a couple of monster plays that were broken plays. And they took advantage. They still had to outrun opponents and get to the end zone, but they had a couple of really big plays last week that were just broken plays, mistakes, guys running into each other, and all of a sudden there's a McNeese, what are they, Cowboys?
Yeah, Cowboys.
That's just running free. And so I don't think that's going to happen with Utah State. Yeah. I think Utah State defense will be more disciplined. I think they'll be able to keep them in front of them better. It'd be great to see Utah State get after the quarterback a little bit more than they have.
Yeah, we'll see exactly how well they do that. I didn't actually look too much into the caliber of McNeese's pass protection, but I think we'll see Utah State try and bother the quarterback we'll see how successful they are. I'm still a bit skeptical of the caliber of Utah State's own pass rush. But when you're facing an FCS team, the offensive linemen are smaller and or slower. And so that's going to create some opportunities for Utah State, some chances to just overload the line of scrimmage. We saw Texas A&M do that with the Aggies, where they just overload, and it's like, you can't stop all of us, so one of us is going to get there. Mm-hmm. And Utah State may very well try that. They haven't really done that against either Air Force or UTEP a whole lot. We'll see if they throw that out there against McNeese. Just overload their pass protection. But I think we'll see, against some overall success, I think we'll see some more turnovers. The Aggies have been pretty good at getting turnovers. We're going to see a few of those. Jake Strong threw a couple of interceptions, and I think we're going to see one or two more turnovers, I think, in this game that Utah State will force. I think the Utah State defense, well, let me put it this way. I think I've seen a quicker, more efficient evolution of the Utah State offense than I've seen of the Utah State defense. And so this week is a great opportunity for them to move to that next level, to dial it in better. And so this will be an interesting one for me to watch. How good, how strong, how dominant can the Utah State defense really be? Or will they still have some trouble? Will McNeese still be able to get some explosive plays over the Aggies? And the Aggies still have some things they need to fine-tune and continue to work on. This is a game where that's where this can be fine-tuned and dialed up. It's where I would really like to see out of Utah State defensively. Yeah, I think that's what I'd like to see. I don't know if we're going to see that. I think we're still going to see a couple of warts. Nothing terrible, but giving up, between 10 and 20 points, or more like 17 to 20 points would be good enough, but it's still kind of that, maybe we should have done better. And there'll be things that you can look for in a film that aren't going to look too great. And that's kind of where I'm seeing McNeese getting between 3 and 4 scores of various sorts, touchdowns or field goals. So I'm predicting they're going to, not do superbly. But I think you're right in that this is the kind of game where it's like Utah State really showed its potential against Air Force. Can they, on offense, can they do that with their defense this week by holding them to like 3 or 6 points before garbage time? If you end up giving up 10 points, but that last one was like 2 minutes left in the fourth against your backups, then sure, that goes on the stat sheet, but you write it off and be like, we really proved ourselves today. So that's the kind of thing that I think you could see. That's the thing I think you hope and aim for with the defense, although that's not quite what I'm predicting. 1-3-5-4 with the score prediction. Aggies 45, McNeese 17. Okay. We'll add that to the list of those who are submitting their score predictions. Basically, everyone has like 45 or 48, and then McNeese somewhere between 10 and 24. And there's like, 5452 has been an outlier, 5210, but yeah. Don't forget 7241. Oh. That's just the big outlier. 1,000,000 to 3. 1,000,000 to 3. Well, let's do this. Last chance to get a score prediction in to be able to win a pair of tickets. See if you can guess Eric or mine's score predictions. A lot of you have come close to mine, but none of you have hit it just yet. Some have come very close to mine as well. But if you want a pair of tickets to go see Utah State take on McNeese, give us your score prediction on the Young Power Sports Logan text line 435-339-0321.
Passion, enthusiasm, extraordinary skill. Isn't that what you want from a chef? From salads to seafood, wood-fired pizzas to unique pastas and succulent steaks, the Elements Restaurant chefs have spent hours creating choices for you. A casual dining experience for lunch or dinner with daily specials and menu choices that always deliver excellence. The Elements is a complete dining experience for everyday dining and for special occasions in your life. Appreciate elevated simplicity. Only at the Elements Restaurant, 750-5171.
Addiction does not discriminate. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, you're not alone. There is hope out there. Renaissance Ranch has been teaming up to provide a place for healing. They understand themselves how powerful it is to overcome addiction. If you've lost hope or if you're scared for someone you love, there is a way back. Renaissance Ranch is there to help you out. You can learn more by going to renaissanceranch.net or visiting their location right here in Logan.
At Top Shed, it's more than just storage. It's style built to last. Simple storage sheds to backyard retreats or the perfect chicken coop. Top Shed has you covered. Custom built with premium materials designed for durability. We'll build right on site in places like Brigham City, Smithfield, Montpelier, and beyond. Don't wait. Late summer and fall are the best time to design, build, and deliver for year-round use. Top Shed, making sheds great again. Call 435-760-7766 or visit topshedusa.com.
Home at Carroll has a farm and appliance farm. With down-home country prices and big city selection. E-I-E-I-O. When you're looking for a friendly spot to drive a little and save a lot, hey, Home at Carroll has a farm. An appliance farm. No overhead, but lots of country charm. See Daryl's Appliance in beautiful downtown Benson.
Life is hard, so making sure you find that perfect woman is important. You need someone that will be by your side through the good and the bad. Once you have found her, show her that she is special with a beautiful diamond ring from Jerix. Yes, it is all about the romance. At Jerix, you won't find a more intimate setting. Where you purchase the ring might not be as important as who you choose to marry, but it's pretty close.
Jerix Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jerix.
It's the Full Court Press, weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Keep your car running at its best with the help from Napa Auto Parts. If you need a new battery or wiper blades, they got the staff that can help you figure out what's the best for your vehicle. They've got the best brands. They can even help you with the installation right on the spot at the store. Locally owned from Preston to Providence. That's Napa Auto Parts. So Utah State taking on McNeese tomorrow. Pre-game coverage on our sister station, KVNU, starting at 4 with J.D. Walker and Stockton Jukes. Stay tuned. There'll be a round table. You might hear our voices on there.
You might.
They'll have play clips from the coaches and the players, getting you ready, doing their own pregame analysis, giving you unique content to get you ready for the game. And it kicks off at 6. And hopefully we got a good crowd. It's a blue out. Make sure you wear blue.
Is that what it is?
To the game on Saturday. So go cheer on the Utah State Aggies. Fill the stadium. Cheer them on. And get this team to 3-1. Which is a great mark. Great start to the football season.
Yeah, it's about as good as you could have hoped for through 4 games for the Aggies. We'll see if they maybe go 4-1. That might be a little more difficult, but you can find yourself into that bye week at least 3 wins. That's a good win. Halfway to bowl contention with 3 or 4 very winnable games right after that bye week. Yeah, I think you can very much hope for that for Utah State, and we're pretty much expecting the Aggies to get their 3rd win here. If they don't, it'll be like, oh boy, something went really wrong this week.
Yeah, really unforeseen. So how will it go down? We've given some previews, how we think things will happen on offense, how things will happen on defense. Ultimately, what will be the final score when it's all said and done, Jason?
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned Bryson Barnes. I think he's going to cook again in this game. I think he's going to rack up some yards. He's going to get some good passing yards. I think he's going to be throwing some dots to some open receivers. Brady Boyd, Braden Pagan. They're going to get open, make some big plays, big catches. You're going to see Barnes move the ball on the ground. I think they're going to exploit McNeese's defense for some gash them with the QB run game and force them to open themselves up by having a lot of RPOs or read options, different things like that. I think they're going to tear this McNeese defense up. Really, the only question is how quickly do they take their foot off the gas because they're blowing them out. And so that's kind of where I was kind of laboring over exactly how many points do I give the Aggies, or do they have a slow first half and then slow up later in the game where they only have like 40 or something points. I was like, do they score 42? Do they score 48? Can they get to the 50s or 60s? If they go full gas the whole way, they can get into the 60s. But I ended up settling on Utah State scoring 52 points. And as I've mentioned, I think McNeese will manage to get 2 or 3 scores, so I gave him 17.
Interesting. We're, again, pretty close.
Yeah, so 52-17 is my prediction.
For me, I've got Utah State 49 and 15 to McNeese. That's an odd number, I know.
Yeah, it is.
But, this is a game I think that Utah State gets out early. They are going to be in control. Most of the scoring for the Aggies will be in the first half. I'd like to still see some in the second half with the second string or third string guys.
It might mirror the Air Force game where they score 35 in the first half and 14 in the second.
And I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that. But with that change in personnel in the second half, McNeese will have some opportunities a little bit to get down into scoring territory.
Are they going to kick 5 field goals, or are they going to go for 2 on one of these plays?
Maybe the Aggies get a safety. Well, I guess that would work for Utah State,
McNeese.
not them. They might go for 8. They may go for a 2-point conversion.
Like I said, they'd have to go for 2. That's how that works.
Yeah, so 49-15 is my score prediction. Put in a random number generator and selected our winners for our tickets to go see Utah State and McNeese. Congratulations to 6436 and 1354. We will get those tickets sent your way. Congratulations. Thanks to those who were sending in your score predictions. Reminder, pregame coverage for our sister station KVNU starts Saturday at 4 and then kickoff at 6 in Logan on Merlin Olsen Field. And then as soon as the game is over, after Coach Mendenhall's comments, we'll be on with KVNU Aggie Call with Tyler Larson joining us as well. Stay tuned. A lot more still to discuss here on the Full Court Press.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Week 3 of the NFL season rarely feels like a turning point. Teams still trying to find their rhythm, still ironing out mistakes, and still searching for an identity. But for the Dolphins and head coach Mike McDaniel, this week may carry a little more weight than most. The Dolphins weren't supposed to be in the thick of the AFC race. At least that was the outside perception. But if you look closer at this roster, they got playmakers on both sides of the ball, a coach with one of the more innovative offensive minds in the NFL, yet here they are 0-2 staring at a heavyweight in Buffalo. Hard to imagine a team battling dysfunction suddenly out-punching one of the league's best on their home turf. But how Miami looks tonight may say everything. A close game could signal progress, proof the Dolphins are climbing out of that early season hole. But getting blown out, that might be the first crack in Mike McDaniel's foundation and the beginning of a far louder question. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Pickleball is the fastest